Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Recently, we've been doing a lot of work in the train yard and also with the expansion table and the new modular building and all of that. But today I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and work over in this area here because we haven't worked on this area in quite a while at this point. And for a while now, I've been talking about adding trees to this area here and different kinds of foliage and stuff like that. And I think today's finally the day that we start tackling the designs for that here. So let me go and grab some different types of pieces and some inspiration that I can share with you guys, and then we can get started. All right, so before I get started here, there's a couple different types of trees that we have in the city already. Obviously, there's the bonsai tree, which is its own set, and I want to leave that as is. I don't want to make any more duplicates of it or buy more sets and put them in. I think one is enough. And then the second type of tree we have is the one in the median here. I quite like this design, actually. I think it's pretty cool, and it's a custom design here, and so it's just brown cylinders and some headlight bricks or four-way snot bricks, and then the leaves are at interesting angles here, and I think it works pretty well here. And there we go. Now it's back in spot there. But I think that looks pretty good, and especially when you have them in a row like that, and also when you look at it from a distance, I think it looks pretty good. And then the third design of tree that we have here is with this design right here. It's, again, brown cylinders, but instead of using the other techniques that we saw in the other tree here, this one has a plant stem underneath it, and then or two plant stems, and then you just add all your leaves, and you add these olive green leaf pieces into every hole in the leaf, and you kind of just go through that a bunch of times, and you end up with something that looks like this. And I think this looks pretty good. I quite like that, but I want to do something a little bit different for these new trees here. So one of the two designs that I want to try and make today is, the first one is from the A-frame cabin here. I think this type of tree looks really, really good. The other type of tree that was in the set was more straight up and down, but this one has some curves built into the trunk here, and I really like the look of it. I think it's a very nice looking tree, and the amount of leaves on it is a little sparse, but I think it fits the vibe of it pretty well, and it looks good, and so I want to recreate at least one or two of these today. I have a few of the pieces, but I don't think I have enough to create a whole area of them. So we're going to just get started here and trying to see how many of these I can make. I have both of my Technic bins out here, and hopefully there's enough pieces in there to make a couple of these trees. But without me talking too much, let me sort through this and see if I can find anything. All right, so this is kind of what I've been up to here. This does look pretty similar to the one from the A-frame cabin here, but there are a couple of major differences, namely the black pieces in the middle there. I didn't have any in black. I had a couple in light gray, but I didn't want to use those. I didn't think it looked that good. So I went ahead and I used these pieces in dark brown. And the difference is that instead of having the axle sticking out, there's an axle hole on each of the three of these here. And so what I did was I took a candlestick and then I put this tail piece in the end of it, and it's not going to go back in with one hand, but you can see the other two sides here and how that turns out. The thing is that it just freely spins, which is not great, but then the same thing goes for the second level here. I just didn't add the candlestick pieces in here, so it's just a little shorter. And then I didn't have the black piece up top there, so what I did was I took one of these pieces here, and so I took that and I put that on, and then I took a stud with a hole in it, and then this 1x1 with the bar attachment on the end, and I just put that along all four sides, and then I put a cone on top. And this is a little short because I was only able to find, I think, 7 or 8 of these of the brown connectors. So unfortunately, this might be the only tree that I can make in this style today. But I do have a different design in mind, which I'll get to in just a second. But I want to add the leaves to this to see if this is actually feasible, and see if it actually looks good in the area. And I also have to figure out a way to connect it to the base plate, because while this does work, you can just fit it between the studs here. I don't love that, and it's not super sturdy. I also need to figure out a way to connect the leaves to this. I couldn't find the claw pieces. I only was able to find these, and this would work, but I don't think it would work that well. I don't know. I'll try it and I'll let you guys know what I come up with. All right, so this is what the design looks like with leaves on it. I wanted it to be kind of full when you compare it to this one back here, and I think it looks okay. I did take out the candlesticks on the first layer here. This is a picture of what it looks like with the candlesticks, and I was not a fan of that at all. And so I did also go in and add a stud up top here under these two leaves, and I think that helps a little bit. Obviously, this is not perfect, but I think it gets the job done, and I think it looks pretty good. I do like the dark brown as opposed to the black. I think that looks a little bit better as well. And so I was right. I could only find about 7 or 8 of these in total. And so I won't be able to make another tree today, unless I want to make a tree with just 2 of these here. But I don't think that's possible. So we're going to try that second idea that I was talking about. So let me grab some different pieces and we can try that out. All right, so the next tree design here, I was actually inspired by the YouTube channel Brick Sculpt. So if you haven't checked out his videos yet, I highly recommend it. He makes some really, really interesting stuff. But his video just happened to show up in my feed recently about tree making. And so pretty much this design here is just taking a whole bunch of these pieces here, which can be found on the Pick-a-Brick wall currently. And so you just take them and you put a bunch of plate on them. And essentially it looks like this. And then you could go in and add your branches from there. And then obviously this would be better connected. But that is kind of the premise of it. So let me fill this out a little bit more and we could take it from there to see how it all looks. All right, so I added a little bit more to the trunk here. Obviously, this is not anywhere near done, but I think this is a nice place to start. And so I took Brick Sculpt's idea here and I kind of ran with it and I expanded out the trunk a little bit more so it is a little bit wider. It is definitely square and I do understand that, but I think this would really benefit from some curved slopes along the edges here because instead of just having the tree, just have the plate, one layer of plate on each side here, I decided to bring it around a little bit and then make it a little bit thicker so then it kind of narrows up to the top here. And I think that looks pretty good. I quite like that actually. And I think it's good, but obviously it needs to be bigger, it needs to be taller, and it could benefit from some curved slopes down here. But overall, I think this is a really good start. And so let me go see if I have any more of these. We can continue building up and then we can take it from there. All right, so I decided to place the trees here in the city and just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a different view of them here. And so we're going to actually not start with the one that I've been working on for quite a while at this point. We're going to start with this one over here. This is a tiny little like sapling tree, almost like a spruce tree. And this is a pretty common technique nowadays in the Lego community, but it's just taking these green fern pieces here, putting them upside down and then putting candlesticks under it, and then that is pretty much the entire technique here. And I think it looks really good. Obviously, there is a couple angles where it's not great. Like back here, you can see all of the ferns stacked on top of each other. But the key to this is to actually place the candlesticks the other way as to how you would normally do it. So instead of having let me see if I can do this with one hand. So instead of having the candlestick piece having the bar go up into the ferns, you actually want to have them facing down and then put a bar on the other end of the candlestick piece here, because one end has the hole and then the other end has the bar. So you want to have the hole facing up and then you put a bar through it, and then that also makes this really sturdy, so this is not gonna go anywhere. But once you do that, then the bar is sticking down and then you can just place it in a stud with a hole in it. And then that's how you would connect that to your base plate or to your diorama. And so that's a pretty easy way to make smaller trees, and I think they look really good. And so obviously, it would do better than just one. You'd probably have like 4 or 5 of them scattered throughout here just to make it look a little bit nicer. But the other tree here is still the same, and I actually quite like how that looks. I think it looks pretty good. And then the third tree on the right here This is the one that's been giving me a lot of trouble. So let me bring this over here really quick to kind of show you guys exactly what I mean. And basically, I did not have as many pieces for this as I thought I would, but we're going to get into that in just a second here. There's a plethora of different techniques in this, including some of the designs from the other tree, like the tail pieces here. You could use that for your branches here. This is more so like a template to kind of give you guys ideas, as opposed to actually putting something in the city today, because if I want to make trees like this, I would have to order pieces, because I actually didn't even have as many snot bricks as I thought I would. So this is pretty much all of them right here, unfortunately. So I would have to go back to the Lego store and get some more. But the branches here are a bunch of different techniques. Like I said, the tail piece is the same as that tree. And then you could just use the 1x1 stud with the bar on it and then put the candlesticks on it and then place a leaf on it and call it a day. Or you could do this technique here, which is from Brick Sculpt, which is the 1x1 piece with the bar attachment, and then the clip here, which has clip on one end and a bar hole on the other, and then you put a candlestick and then a stem or a stick piece here, and that really just allows you to place as many leaves as you want on it, and you can make it as long or as short as you want. So I did one with one candlestick on this end, one with two candlesticks over here, and I think that looks pretty good. You know, it's kind of sparse at the moment simply because I don't have that many leaves on it. And I don't even have any of these pieces. I had to steal them from the jazz club right over there. So you'll see the second floor is missing because I had to go and use the pieces from inside of the second floor for this demonstration here. But I think these trees look good. There's a lot of potential with this one. Obviously, it's nowhere close to done, and I'd still have to figure out how to do the canopy up top. But I think it looks good, and the premise is there, and so I'm pretty happy with it. I hope this was kind of informative for you guys to make different styles of trees and to kind of experiment with them. You know, you could go really simple with the fern down there, or you could get a little bit more complex and do that design there that we talked about earlier, or you could go really crazy and do something like this, or you could even go bigger, you know, instead of using the 1x2 by 1 2/3 bricks, you could make it even bigger than this. So instead of a 2x2 trunk, it could be a 3x3 or a 4x4, or, you know, whatever you want, really. The only thing to worry about is stability with the leaves or the branches on this one. So I have to figure out how to make that better. But overall, that is pretty much it for this video here. I just wanted to share with you guys a couple of different tree techniques that I was messing around with. So again, shout out to Brick Sculpt for this design here. All of the credit goes to him. I was just kind of reusing some of his designs and also trying to see if I had the pieces to make it happen. And unfortunately, I don't. I don't have enough pieces to make enough of even one tree, honestly. But I would love to make a couple of trees for the whole area here. I think that could be pretty cool to have a couple of trees like this kind of scattered throughout the city here, especially in this area right here. And then I would love to make some more of each of these two types of trees here. I think those would be really cool to see as well, because I really like the angles of the leaves on that one, and that one's small and it's simple. The only thing with this one is that the fern pieces are kind of expensive. They're almost 20 cents a piece. And so, you know, this tree alone has 10 of them on it, I think. So that's like $2 in just fern pieces plus the candlesticks and the, you know, so it gets expensive pretty quick. But these trees do look really good. And then obviously, you know, you could add your foliage around them, and then that would be pretty much that. And so that's going to wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this style of video and more of like a technique video on how to make these trees and just to have different designs and ideas to have in your collection, make sure to like the video and subscribe, as well as click the bell notification so you don't miss any future uploads. If you guys have any feedback for me on these styles of trees, and if there's any other designs of trees that you want to see me make for the city, make sure to drop a comment down below. But once again, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.